Now it's going.
Okay.
All right, so looking at our brake lathe here, this will be pretty standard in a lot of shops. Not a whole lot has changed over the years. We're going to go through a couple of the systems, but the number one thing that you want to remember when doing any kind of machine work, brakes or anything, is cleanliness. Because when you're setting things up and you're clamping them together and you're wanting them to be exactly parallel or exactly perpendicular, and you clamp it and there's any kind of dirt or dust or anything in there, it's going to throw you off. And when you're dealing with brakes and any other type of machine work, and you're talking about thousandths of an inch and sometimes 10,000ths of an inch, a little speck of dust can throw it way off. So making sure everything is clean is absolutely imperative to everything that you do. So I'm going to go over just real quick. You want to dust everything off on the machine. And before I put anything on this surface here, this rotor's been sitting out in the yard for a while, pretty rusty. But before I clamp anything to this, and I clamp dirt and junk in here, I want to make sure this is decently clean. So I've got a little Scotch Brite pad on here. We're just going to clean it up. And we're not looking to polish it, but we're looking to get the dirt and junk off of it. So again, we're not looking to get a mirror finish. I'll do the same on the inside real quick and get just the big stuff off. So pretty quick and easy, but it made a world of difference. So before I get started on this, I'm going to have Kurt go over the different parts of our lathe here.
Okay, so back in the day when I first started, this is the setup that we had to use. And on rotors, most of the time, it's not a big deal. So you've got this back adapter here that slides onto your arbor.
So this is completely empty right now. There's nothing on there.
Okay, so this back portion here goes to that inside of that rotor, and then you've got a spring, and then you've got what's called a centering cone. So it goes in and out like that. All right. So then if you were using it, you would take this rotor and set it on here like this, and then you would take this other adapter and put it here like this. Now this is all fine and dandy, but this is kind of a heavy rotor, and that spring is the only thing pushing in the cone. So sometimes you get a situation where the rotor is not perfectly centered, and we're going to go over doing a drum, and you can understand that the surface here is not lateral, but it's straight this way. So if you have a little bit of little play this way, it's not going to make a huge difference on a rotor, okay? But on a drum, these are a problem, because any amount off would cause you to have a sensation of a warped drum. You could even feel that in the pedal. So this is the old school setup that we had, and then you would just take and put your adapter on here, and then you put your nut on.
Why are you spinning that backwards?
Because that's how it works. It's a left-hand thread. Okay.
That part's left-hand thread,
Mm-hmm.
but this one's right-hand thread.
Mm-hmm. This one is a left-hand thread because it pulls this way, and it would have a natural propensity to loosen it, okay? One of the things I want to show you, super important, you don't need to go super tight on these things. Go like this. You can literally just go like that. That's all you need. You don't need to tighten it that much. So now I've discussed with you the old school method and what still can be done. However, we have a far superior method of turning the rotors and drums now, of which Jacob is going to show you. Okay. So I'm going to pull my adapter off, put it into our perfectly placed adapters. As you can see, it's a shop environment. And that's my excuse. Okay.
All right. So our easier way to get these centered is by using one of these. This is a Concentric, And what you do is you tighten your chuck here, and these little fingers, if you will move outward and contact the inside of our rotor and perfectly center it. So you bring it inward, and then it's going to go on here, so it rests on this lip, and this lip contacts it. But you notice this one's a little bit too big. This outer diameter is a little too big to fit inside our rotor here. So we're going to change these out to some smaller little fingers, to where it'll give us a lot more of a, it'll be able to adjust down a lot smaller.
So what is that called?
Concentric.
Okay.
And this is, when did these come out, Kurt?
About 15, 18 years ago.
Yeah, so been around for quite a while, but way easier to mess with than all those cones and adapters and all that other stuff. So I'm going to bring these out. Getting the new ones in, they're actually numbered which one you put in first. This one has a little number 1 on it, and probably show up on camera. And then on my top of my Concentric here, I have numbers, and that looks like 2, so that's the wrong spot. So, and if you'll notice, this has the adjuster inside. You can watch it go. So when I go to get started here, I'm going to put this number 1 in, and then I just got to get it to catch. And now that it's caught, it's just started, I'm going to get my number 2 and put it in here. And the open end of this is going to be coming this way, and it's going to catch the first tooth on this second finger here. And then as soon as that one catches, or it just did, now I'm going to grab my number 3 tooth, put it in here, and I might have gone too far for that one. Let me see. Nope, there it is. Okay. Yeah, I did go too far. That's uneven. Let me show you this real quick. So you'll notice the third one that I did here, I missed the tooth as it came along, and it went all the way around again and caught it again. So these should be in a perfect circle right now, and right now I got like an uneven triangle, whatever that's called. So I'm going to back this up until this tooth just pops out. Okay, that one just popped out, and now to make sure I get it, I'm going to make this second one just pop out. Alright, that one just popped out, and I'm going to go back the other way. There we go. And now I should catch this one. And I think I did it again. I'm going a little too fast with my electric ratchet. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, it looks right to me. So now I can flip this over, and again we got our clean surface here. This will come inside and center itself. And I just do that by hand, snug it up. You don't got to go all T-Rex on it. And now come over here. And Kurt was nice enough to leave all his extra adapters on here for me.
That would be me.
There we go. real gentle going on the end here, and then make sure that this goes in and contacts the flat area inside there, to where you're not on any outer lip or anything that's going to make it go crooked.
To the clean surfaces that you've prepared.
Yeah. Now this is just acting as a spacer right now, so we can put our nuts on here. Get another spacer. Here we go. And that'll go on there good. And we'll snug it up while we're thinking about it. And now this spring here, we're going to put along the outside edge of the rotor, and this is going to help a lot with vibration, and that's going to give you a cleaner cut, because as these bits contact the rotor, they're going to want to chatter a little bit and go in and out, and that vibration causes a terrible noise that's really annoying, and it will annoy everyone in the shop. But more importantly, it's going to again make them chatter and give you a very ugly or uneven cut. So that's our basic setup right there. Then we can turn it on and watch it in action. So as we're going here, here's our top adjustment. Again, we're not going T-Rex on that nut there, but now I can center this. You want to pan out a little bit, Kurt, so show them. So you can move this side to side, back and forth, you know. So I'm going to get this roughly centered and then snug it up. And notice I'm saying snug, not T-Rex super tight. Now I'll get my screw to engage, bring these bits out. So real quick, these little T-handles right here, this is what tightens the adjustability in the bits here. So you want to loosen these. Now I can come back to these knobs here. I'm going to move the camera up a little, Kurt, and come back to these knobs right here, and I can dial them backwards. So I can bring them way back because we got a pretty thick rotor. Now I can come here and pull the bit in. These are not spring loaded. And now I have enough clearance to where I can do my machining. So I'm going to turn it back on. Yeah, watch the moving parts, Kurt. I should give you a warning right there. And we'll see that again, these stay loose while we're adjusting here. So again, our T-handles are loose, and I'm going to bring this in to where our bit is getting really close to our rotor here. And you'll notice it's just now starting to make a tiny bit of noise. So I'm going to tighten this, and then snug it up, and do the same thing on this side. So bring it in to where it just barely touches. So there it is right there. And this being so rusty, you can see the little line that it made right there on both sides. So now we're going to bring it backwards and cut the lip off this rotor. So this one is not too bad. Generally you'll have quite a bit of powdery stuff flying at your face, and a bit more noise when you go backwards and cut the lip off. But now I'm going to run it all the way in and cut our inner lip off, which will usually be on both sides. And let me see, this side has a bit more of a lip here. So we've gone past on both sides, cut our lip off, and you just want to make sure that you don't ram your bits into the side of your housing there. So now I'm going to loosen my bit there, and I can zero this out to inches, and I'll go with like about 10 thousandths for this one. So I'll dial it in to 10 thousandths, snug up my bit. Do the same on this side, bring it back down to inches. And I'm moving these separate. So this knob right here is separate from this knob. So I can dial it in for exactly how much I want. So now I'm turning my outside knob, loosen my bit, dial in 10 thousandths, and now shift it into gear. So I'm going to grab my knob here in the back and just do a fast cut. We're going to do a fast cut just to speed up the process here. Pull this forward, and that engages our auto feed. So you'll notice we're doing a fast cut, and it's starting to get into the meat now. You can hear the difference. You see all the specks flying off of here. And it's doing a pretty good job of cleaning this up. All the rust on here really helps it show up pretty easily on camera. This is also where you'd want to be wearing a mask, because we have quite a bit of rusty dust coming off of here, and metal tubings and all this junk flying around. So safety glasses and a dust mask would be really good right here. So our fast cut is done pretty quickly, but it doesn't leave quite as nice of a finish. And if these were warped, you would notice some high spots and some low spots as it was cutting, and it would look like a moon, kind of like a crescent moon flipping around, where it hits the high spots and cleans them up, but doesn't touch the low spots. And that's confirmation of a pretty rough rotor. Check station here that goes down into this. See all the junk it collects. Also gets all over the floor. So anytime I'm done, I always sweep up so I don't track it around the shop and into customers' cars. And we're just about done with our fast cut here. Let it wait. Okay. So we're all done. I'm gonna shift into neutral here and just shut this off so I don't have to shout anymore. And this will be a little hard to pick up on camera, but our finish is it's a completely flat surface now. I don't have any high or low spots anymore, but the finish is a little bit rougher than we'd really prefer to put on a vehicle. Sometimes we'll do a fast cut when we know that we have a rotor that's pretty warped and we'll need to take a couple of passes to get it flat again. But this one we could have got away with doing one slow pass to give us a really nice finish. So with this one we would do another slow cut at just maybe 3 or 4 thousandths or so to clean it up, put a real nice finish on there, and then ideally you can come back as this is spinning, hit it with some sandpaper real lightly, and that'll put a non-directional finish on it. You'll notice if you get rotors brand new out of the box, generally they'll have that look to them. It'll be kind of like a crosshatch look, and that's what that is. It's a non-directional finish. So here, we'll clean this up. Kurt likes to spray it.
Everybody thinks that the rotor is clean, but look how dark that is.
Yeah.
All of that dust gets in between those crowns in the valley, and all that would go into your pads if you don't clean this off. Let me get another clean spot. So now I've cleaned that spot twice. Let's get another clean spot on the back.
Get a fresh ride.
Okay. So let's get another spot right here.
the brand new rag.
And that's after it's been done. Now it's coming back pretty clean, okay? But that was 2 times, right?
Show this side.
All right.
I'm being extra bossy now.
That's a good thing. Okay, your first pass. Second pass. And third. I like it to come back clean before I'm finished.
And you notice Kurt's doing this in a way that if it catches the rag, it's going to pull it that way and out of his hand rather than this way and pull his hand into these sharp bits here and take his finger and send it into the wall.
By the way, these are the bits here. This is what they look like. So these are the bits. These are actually really cool if you look at them. So they've got 1, 2, 3 sides, and then they've got 1, 2, 3 sides here. But here's the cool part. So if you put it in here, if you look down here, see how the bit's sitting in there? So it's sitting like that. So you would have 6 sides to use because you twist it and then you twist it again and then you turn it over and you twist it. But look, that's not all, just like on TV. So it's just this edge that's getting done, getting rounded off and getting dull. Now I can take that bit and I can put it over here. And now I've got a fresh surface 6 times as well, okay? Sometimes people don't know this, but at the price of these bits, you want to be able to use them, you know, for some time. So that's just a way that we can get a little bit longer.
What does a set of bits cost?
They used to be, when I bought these, they're about 15 years old, probably about $35, $40. Now the same thing is about $70 or $80.
For how many?
Let's see.
10. So if you use them and take care of them properly, they should last you quite a while.
Well, it's been that long for these.
Yeah, and we turn maybe 5 or 6 rotors a week, or sets of rotors. So about 12 a week or so, depending on the week.
And more often than not, I change them about every 4 to 6 weeks. Okay. If I get any finish that I'm not happy with, I'll change them. While we're talking about the cleanliness and stuff like this, I just wanted to show you an adapter here, okay? And sometimes you have especially deep rotors. In other words, the hubs are way inside and you have a large surface that is very hard to access. So what you'll do is you'll use adapters such as this, and it will go right in here instead of this little straight one. And look how far that reaches back on the rotor relative to the position of the holder.
Right.
Okay, so there are several different types of adapters that you can have to do different rotors. So at this point, I wanted to show you guys something. Pardon me, we wanted to show you guys something that we just did last week. We were struggling with a rotor that didn't seem to want to cut correctly. So it was a situation where the rotor was so long that we were forced to use this adapter, okay? We were able to use the Concentric on one side, but this was not large enough, and this one was too big, okay? So we were getting a funny cut even in spite of the fact that there was really nothing wrong with our setup. So you're gonna see this adapter here, it has kind of a shininess to the fingers of it, the protruding spot. Look how thin those are right there, okay? And they're shiny, huh? Here's the same adapter, okay? But this one hasn't been dropped 35 times like this one was, okay? So what we did was this one we found to be not true. It was off slightly. So we went ahead and we cut it with the lathe to make sure that it was true. So look, dirty, clean. And for some reason over the years, this one got dropped a lot and this one didn't. So even though this one theoretically is okay for the purpose of our video here, we're gonna go ahead and spin it. So all I'm doing is taking adapters here, all right?
On that rotor, we were It was a like off of a truck where it had a tapered wheel bearing. So we were able to use one of these that it has just a slight amount of taper to it on the inside, but on the outside we had to use this to get it to clamp up straight.
Okay. So what we decided after looking at it is we decided that this surface here, this way, was corrupt. So we put this adapter on here and we turned it and cut it with this to true it, because when this fell down, boom, down here like this, it hit this corner and made this untrue. So what we're doing now, this is kind of I'm gonna call it a trade secret, but when I had an Amco guy in here to repair my brake lathe, I saw him doing this and I was like, oh my goodness, that's a good idea. So instead of having to buy a new adapter kit, we can do this.
I'm gonna jump on this side, see if I can catch that. This is all dirty right now, and when it just starts to contact, it'll show us the high spots and the low spots as it starts to take it off.
Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, Kurt. Well, all right. So now we're gonna come out here. We've got this as far in as we can get it. All right. I could actually bring that in a little bit more. Make it a little bit stronger. Okay, so we're gonna make sure that this is away from it. All right, and we're gonna start it. Now you can see, it almost looks like that thing's off the line, but okay, so I'm gonna bring it up and I'm gonna touch it. All right, so just like Jacob showed you, we're gonna come back out here and make sure it's crowned, and come back here, and we call this crowning when we take off a high spot. Okay, so now you'll see it's got little lines in it. Because it's an adapter, I'm not gonna go the full 10,000 like we did on a rotor that we know is corrupt. So I'm gonna go ahead and take 4,000 off, and we'll see how that works out. Tighten up the T-bar, make sure this is tight on the side here. This is for drums. We're gonna get into that in the next video, of which when we have a drum to actually turn. But right now we're gonna true this brake lathe adapter. We're gonna put it on the slow cut because we don't want this finish to be coarse.
Like that. No, that's just stick like. Right here.
So again, the reason we would be doing this if we suspect that our adapter is not true. If you went to 20 shops that had this particular Amco brake lathe, you would probably find 18 of them that needed to do this to their adapters. And what most shops do is just replace them. As you can see, there's no need because we can do this in 5 minutes or less. So imagine you have 8 adapters. In 1 hour, you've just eliminated the need to buy an $800 adapter set. And even though it looks old, it is in essence brand new. That's my bird. Jacob and Byron don't like her very much because of things just like that.
I wouldn't say we don't like her, we despise her.
Yeah, hate it. Despise it. strong as well. Okay, so we're almost to the edge of the adapter. Okay. So now, you will see that it has that bright, shiny finish like the other one. Okay? So if you didn't get clearly how many times this has been turned, now looking versus this one, same adapter,
Yeah.
been turned several times.
You got a half inch off of there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had this adapter for probably close to 30 years.
500,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, easily. Yep, so there you go. So instead of having to purchase new units, yeah, you can make them right. So another thing I just want to say that Jacob so well went over, a concentric is something that centers itself no matter what, okay? So what that adapter was used for was in the machinist industry, they used that, they called that a chuck holder. And what a guy did, a machinist from the, a machinist came to our industry and said, this is what you need instead of these old style adapters. We're very grateful for it. Another thing I wanted to say is this is the main thing, the main style you will use at the school, providing we ever get back there. And what's really cool with the school is instead of having to do what we have to do here, they have another concentric that's already got these big chucks or bits in there, so they don't have to change them back and forth like we do. It's the luxury and the embarrassment of riches that Cypress College has to offer.
Sounds good. Alright, here's a rotor that has a good amount of warp to it. You can see it's about 3/4 of the way with the first cut. And you have the high and the low spot. It's taking off the high spot. That's the shiny area. And the low spot is the darker area where the bits aren't even touching. Look on this side, that's about the same. Not quite as bad, so we'll do another cut with this. There it is.